right, welcome everyone. We're so glad you're here to join us for the Tarrant County Food Policy Council meeting today. Thanks for joining us for another virtual meeting, but it's good to be together. If you would go ahead and introduce yourselves in the chat box, let us know your name and if you're with an organization, what that organization might be. And you can also use the chat box for your questions during the meeting, and Becca will be monitoring those to make sure we get your questions answered or information shared. There will be an opportunity at the end of the meeting to share other information about things you have going on that you think might be pertinent to other council members. So we will do that at the end. Today we're going to have our usual officer reports and working group updates. But in between those two things, we have a couple people from the American Heart Association who will be talking to us about their new strategic plan. We have Bree Mabry, who's the Community Impact Director, and Jenny Iyer, who is one of the vice presidents there. And then we also have some comments and questions, or we'll have an update from the 76104 working group, working on food access in that zip code. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm not sure I have any updates today on anything that's really going on. Becca, do you have anything to share?
Just briefly, we've been working as a board on improving our communication tools, working on some things like organized email addresses and a centralized phone number, as well as just mailing address and things like that. So we're just getting more organized as a board and continuing to improve, but we're still working on that. So y'all will know any updates when we have them.
All right, very good. Harrison, do you have anything you want to share?
Sure do. Hey, everybody. For secretary notes, not much to report today. I'd ask everyone to please mark their calendars for the next general meeting, which will be April 1st at 4 p.m. That is not a joke. That's just the first Thursday of the month. So go ahead and get set for that, and we'll send out a video and short recap of this meeting afterwards to everyone on the mailing list. And if anyone is here attending the meeting and would like to be on the mailing list that isn't, I would ask that you please email us at tarrantcountyfoodpolicycouncil@gmail.com. I'll put that in the chat box, and we'll supply meeting updates and notices and recaps there. So that's about it for me.
All right. We will come back to our treasurer, our stand-in treasurer, actually. Our treasurer, Brenda Patton, is on maternity leave, and Soraya is standing in for her. And I know she was planning on being here, so we'll see if she is able to make it and take care of that business later. Michelin. I don't see Michelin. Okay, Michelin would be our past chair. All right, so we're going to move along to our presentation with Jenny and Bree. So I'm going to let y'all take it away, and please, you can do a better job of introducing yourselves than I did.
Sure, thank you for having us. Hello and good afternoon, and happy Gold Red Month, and also happy Black History Month. I am Bree Mabry. I am the Community Impact Director for Tarrant County. I have been with the American Heart Association for 5 years, where I have had the pleasure in working for our National Center in Dallas on our multicultural markets team, advocacy team, and also the newly created Office of Health Equity. I was blessed with the opportunity to join our local North Texas market back in 2018 to really ramp up my passion in targeting local communities to have opportunities to live longer, healthier, and equitable lives. I like to describe my role as being the liaison amongst our communities, community partnerships, and our organization. And today I am also joined by Jenny Iyer, our North Texas VP of Health Strategies. Hi, Jenny. So I am personally thankful for this opportunity, and on behalf of the American Heart Association, we are excited to be able to share some updates around our work. Next slide. So nationally, our work is guided by 5 pillars, which are leading breakthroughs in science and technology, changing systems, changing policy, transforming healthcare, and also transforming communities. Next slide. We know that to be effective as a relentless force for a world of longer, healthier, equitable lives, we need focus. With this need for focusing our efforts on community needs, our new national priorities are controlling blood pressure, increasing nutrition security, preventing and controlling tobacco and e-cigarette usage, supporting community response around COVID-19, and also women's health, where we are focusing on reducing health risks to women. Next slide. You can actually skip this slide as well, sorry. So back in the fall of 2020, our community impact teams across the nation were tasked to conduct community stakeholder conversations to introduce the new approach. Our Tarrant County market conducted 4 stakeholder conversations and 4 community interviews, which some of you were involved in, so thank you for that. We also identified advocates within our county to give us some insight as well. The issues that were prioritized based on the following criteria. We're really focusing in on the size of the problem, the seriousness of the problem, health equity, effectiveness of interventions, and organizational alignment. Next slide. So using prioritization criteria listed on the previous slide, findings from data collection and key stakeholder interviews, American Heart Association Tarrant County plans to focus on the following community needs. So that's increasing nutrition security, controlling blood pressure, preventing and controlling tobacco and e-cigarette usage. We know that priority areas around COVID-19 and women's health can be overlapped with these key identified areas of increasing nutrition security, controlling blood pressure, and preventing tobacco and e-cigarette usage. Next slide. So in 2016, Tarrant County Public Health reported heart disease was the 2nd leading cause of death in Tarrant County. Research suggests that access to healthy and nutritious food combined with other lifestyle changes can have an impact on prevalence of this chronic disease. We all know that access to healthy food contributes to well-being, chronic disease prevention, healthy life expectancy, and academic performance. We have resources that focus in on education of healthy food, such as cookbooks. However, we know that equitable access and availability are the current needs and solutions that must be put into place before we can push more education on our communities. With that being said, we have been leading conversations with charitable clinics and also federally qualified health clinics to stress and promote food is vitally important and food is medicine, essentially. We would love to encourage these conversations by bringing the clinical perspective and connecting them to hunger solutions. Through our previous and ongoing clinical initiatives with these clinical partners, we have substantial data that supports the overall patient population, identified hypertensive patient population, and the percentages of those patients that are in the controlled range of hypertension. Through efforts of connecting with our community partners, you all involved as the Tarrant County Food Policy Council, we know there is opportunity to connect and move forward with our impact in increasing nutrition security. So that was pretty much the quick overview of what we're really doing in the food, just securing food for our communities. We are moving forward and impacting our Tarrant County communities in food spaces, and we are super gracious that we were able to just really share with you the quick overview of what we've really drilled down to as American Heart Association. We know that we can continue this effort with partners like you all that are on this call, and I would truly invite you to reach out to me or Jenny Iyer. My email address is bri.mabry@heart.org, and that's bry.mabry@heart.org. And again, thank you for this time.
Fantastic. Thank you, Bree. Does anyone have questions about that information? I'm really glad you all are working on nutrition security. I think that's fantastic to add the Heart Association into that work, because I think that I think you all bring resources and a great voice and can really help in communities where maybe the capacity isn't great yet, but can help build some capacity there. All right.
Yeah.
Is it just Bree that's presenting and not Jenny? Are you here for support?
I am. I'm here. I'm here because I used to get to come to these meetings when I worked for Children at Risk,
that's
and
right.
I was like, you know what, I want to come in and get to see some old faces I haven't seen in a while. So just grateful for the opportunity to be able to be here and present, and look forward to finding ways to partner in nutrition security work and really connecting it on that health side and really how we can make the difference there. So thank you. Appreciate getting to see faces and saying hello.
Again, I want to welcome everybody. Maybe you've joined a few minutes after 4, and welcome. We're glad you're here for our virtual meeting. If you haven't already, please do drop your name, and if you have an organization that you're representing, add that as well. We want to know that you're here. Okay. Making sure there's not anything I'm missing in the chat. And next up, we have working group updates. And we're going to start with the Community Gardens and Urban Ag Working Group. Dave and Charlie.
Hello, everybody. So first announcement would be that Charlie Blaylock has joined as co-chair for Community Gardens and Urban Agriculture. So please join me in welcoming him. It's not like he hasn't been doing this work for a long time already. So we really appreciate him taking on this additional task to help us out. I'll just
thanks everybody. My video, I tested it before the meeting. Sorry, you get that picture. Sorry.
If only we could all look like that forever, right, Charlie?
All right. Right.
All right, so I'll give you guys a quick update from our last meeting, and then after I'm done, I'll put the info about the next meeting and how to get in touch with me in the chat if anybody has questions. But we talked about a new app that you can use if you have food scraps to donate, or if you're, say, a community garden that needs food scraps to compost. And that app is called Share Waste. I'll just put this in the chat, make sure I'm going this to everybody and not just to my fellow panelists. And it has a web angle too, so you don't have to use it on your phone if you don't want to. But it's kind of neat. And basically it's, the idea is that if you have a neighborhood and you have maybe somebody who's growing a lot of food in their backyard, the other neighbors could keep their compostable veggie scraps and so on, and then donate that to the person who's trying to grow stuff and needs more compost. And there are folks here who've joined up. Becca's joined up. Chuck Lucas from Growing Place Community Garden in Hearst has signed up and has actually gotten some people regularly donating food scraps for their garden. So that's out there. We also talked about other ways to get more compostable food scraps to gardens and farms where they can actually be magically transformed from waste into resource. And this was on my mind because I had just talked with Greg Joel on the phone. I just saw Bree had a picture of him with Opal's Farm in her slideshow. So they've diverted tons of waste, literally tons, many tons, and turned it into soil, things that you need to grow crops in. And he can do more, and all the gardens can do more. And he's frustrated because, there are groceries in his neighborhood who won't donate because they don't know about the Good Samaritan Law, or they don't understand how it works, or whatever. And there are all kinds of issues. A lot of community gardens would like to have more waste, but they don't want to have to go and pick it up at a particular time when they may or may not have volunteers. So these are kind of bigger picture issues that we're working on. Becca also gave us a report. She set up a new Facebook page for the CGUA working group. And this is a place where if you're a garden that has a resource, for example, Selena Esakawu from the UNT Health Science Center garden said, boy, I have more coffee grounds than I can compost right now. So if somebody else wants them, come get them, right? Well, now there's a Facebook page where you can post resources like that. Or if your garden has a need, thank you, Becca. Becca just put it in the chat for everybody. And if your garden has a need, you can also post there and ask if anybody has this help that they could share with you. You know, and it could be information as well. How do we grow tomatoes, right? We'd all like that magic formula here for North Texas. Nobody has it, but some people have better ideas than others. So anyway, we now have a Facebook page for what do you need and what can you share. And then we had a guest presentation by Courtney Davis. She's the new, I'm sorry, I don't have her exact title, but she's the new director for Texas AgriLife's Tarrant County office. And, you know, I was very excited because she was excited about presenting to us and partnering on a more regular basis with the Food Policy Council, which is something that I've wanted to see for a long time. And Laura Miller, who is the commercial horticulture agent for Tarrant County, has joined our working group. So we have a direct line. And AgriLife, you know, they're kind of like the master gardeners. And in fact, they support the master gardeners, they train the master gardeners, but they're an information resource. So if you need something taught at a school, if you need nutrition education, if you need to know what are the recommended crops for North Texas and Charlie's too busy to answer your question, you can ask Texas AgriLife, right? And so they're out there, and they said, please make use of our resources and our information. We want to help people grow healthy food here. So that was really exciting. And then also very exciting, we've been working for a long time on a project we're calling, for lack of a better name, the School Garden Location Project, because, you know, Outteach has elementary school gardens that they support. Blue Zones has school gardens that they support. Other groups have school gardens that they support. And there's plenty of school gardens that are out there just on their own. And there's no one list that we know of that has everybody, all the school gardens in Tarrant County. And, you know, what are we going to do with this? Well, one thing is it will be on our local food resource map on our website if the gardens give permission to be listed there. The other thing is we'd also like contact info for all these gardens so we can put them in touch with each other. And, you know, I would imagine that some of the issues that one school garden is facing and they find a solution for, that may be helpful to another school garden, right? So I'm hoping that maybe this will be a networking resource as well. It's been kind of slow because honestly, schools have other things on their minds right now than their gardens. And I understand that. But eventually we'd like to get back to reaching out to more schools and so on. So I'm very grateful. We are very grateful to Mary Jo Green. She's been in Texas, I guess, for a couple years now, 4 or 5 years, and she's a school garden educator, independent. And so she helps out at a bunch of different school gardens. She has a ton of energy. She's super nice. She has a great accent. And anyway, she has agreed to take over this project. So if you have a passion for school gardening and would like to help out, we can definitely use some help. And then I'll say it, and then I'll type this in the chat. Our next meeting is Thursday, March 18th at 3 o'clock via Zoom. And all you have to do is email me and I'll send you the Zoom info. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Dave. You spurred me to remember that there is a North Texas School Garden Network meeting this Saturday, and I'm going to pop the registration link into the chat. If anybody's interested in that, it's free. It's through Eventbrite, so technically it looks like there's a ticket, but it's a free event. You can join virtual, all that kind of good stuff. All right, next working group, Children's Health. Bahista and Alexandra.
Hello, my name is Alexandra Thurston. I'm one of the co-chairs along with Bahista Usuri, who is, tending to real life. Yeah, well, I mean, all the kids are in real life, but some that are in her presence. So I will be speaking for us today. So in our last report, we talked about a grant that we learned about that would provide funding in order to allow us to pursue changing policy around the way that sugary beverages are presented on menus. So we were able to get that application in. V did amazing work, particularly at year end when, you know, a lot of people have less bandwidth. So I want to publicly thank you, V, for that. So at this point, we are waiting to hear back about that application. We meet every other month, even months to be specific, on the third Wednesday of the month at 10:30, and I will drop that information in the chat. Thank you.
Fantastic. And the Food Recovery Working Group, Brittany and Gina. So Gina, do you have a report for us?
Hello, everyone. I'm Gina Hill. I am the co-lead of the co-chair of the Food Recovery Working Group, along with Brittany Rosenberg, who couldn't be here today. Just as a last update, during our last meeting, we discussed how we would like to invite someone from Funkytown Fridge to our next meeting to discuss what their needs are, how their capacity is going, and how we can help as a Food Recovery Working Group with the efforts that they have going on. I'm not sure how many of y'all are familiar with Funkytown Fridge, but basically it's an organization where there are some refrigerators and kind of like smaller pantries at various locations in the city. And kind of the sponsors, from what I understand, of those refrigerators have agreed to pay the electricity to keep the refrigerators plugged in and functioning. And then people can donate to those refrigerators, to those pantries, and people can take food from those. And so we're hoping that there's some way that we may be able to hook up Funkytown Fridge with some help if they feel like they need it, and that might not be the case, but we're going to see if we could be of use to them as a Food Recovery Working Group, just because we think that a lot of what we hope to achieve can overlap with what their mission is as well. We also discussed the Food Recovery Resource page that we'd like to get going. We want to get a page with options for recovering food for places like restaurants, so that if they have food to donate, that they know where to go with that. For example, Union Gospel, or maybe Funkytown Fridge, or Grow Southeast, or places like that. And then we also want to develop like an FAQ, basically, that can be distributed by code compliance when they do restaurant inspections, just because, as Dave mentioned, there are still a lot of people that aren't familiar with the Good Samaritan Law that basically kind of provides them with coverage to prevent any lawsuits and issues like that that are so kind of unfortunately commonly feared by organizations, and prohibit them from donating food when they really have, you know, good resources to do so, and a lot of legal reasons why it's fine to go ahead and do so, just that protection. And lastly, we are also hoping eventually, and this is probably something where this entire group can come in to help, if depending on your connections, to eventually have something done at the city level where we can have, that was my dog that just coughed in the background. I'm sorry if y'all heard that. It was a terrible sound. Wow. I usually lock her up when I teach, and that's a lesson learned. But to keep, to connect with council members and local governments to eventually develop a proclamation to support food recovery. So citywide, saying like, this is something that the city supports, and just getting some more education out there about how, you know, these dates don't matter, the Good Samaritan rule exists, and hopefully eventually getting that done. So if you have contacts at the city level, or you know people at the council or in positions like that that could be helpful, that would be wonderful for you to share with us. We realize this is probably not the easiest time to do that, because we're about to have a change in the mayor and the council members and stuff, but you know, we have to start somewhere. Our next meeting is March 10th from 12:30 to 1:30. It will be on Zoom also. I will put my email in the chat if anyone wants to reach out to me. I'm happy to give you that Zoom link when it's ready. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks, y'all. Thanks for all the amazing work that our working groups are doing. I just think we have a pretty cool thing going with the work that's being done and continually chipped away at. Just to recap, the Community Garden and Urban Agriculture next meeting is Thursday, March 18th at 3 p.m. And Children's Health Working Group is the third Wednesday of even months. So that would be this coming up Wednesday, the 17th. We got another week in there. And at 10:30 in the morning, that's Children's Health. And Gina, will you say when your working group is again?
Absolutely. March 10th from 12:30 to 1:30.
Fantastic. Thank you. I muted myself and then started talking. It's not good meeting management today. We're going to have an update from the project that's happening in the 76104 zip code. And I'm going to turn it over to Victoria for that.
Thank you, Susie. Hi, everybody. This is Victoria Nelson from Catholic Charities Fort Worth, and I manage our corporate and community engagement. And I'm really happy to simply introduce my amazing colleague. His name is Jay Semple, and he's our manager of faith and community partnerships. He is also the leader of the collective work of Team 76104, which he'll tell you more about today. His roles also include disaster response leadership at Catholic Charities and some amazing roles within the county and the state for the volunteer organizations active in disaster. And he also manages our VITA volunteer income tax assistance program here at Catholic Charities and much, much more. He's been with our agency for just about 10 years now. And he's also a resident of 76104. And so with that, I'll just turn it over to Jay to share this information that I know y'all have been asking about. So we're really happy to share it with you today.
Wow, thank you for that introduction, Victoria. I'm guessing everybody can see my screen here. This is going to be pretty quick. I don't have a whole lot of slides here, but hopefully, I don't know that there'll be any time for questions, but I definitely want to answer any questions folks may have. So Team 76104, as you can see here, together everyone achieves more. And so there we go. So that started, if you guys follow the Star Telegram at all, in the fall of 2020, they started a series, an investigative series. Nicole Manna started printing it on the 76104 community, having the lowest life expectancy rate in the entire state of Texas. And so some of us may have heard that before. I think I've probably seen a report a while back, but you know, it really stuck out this time, and we just started making phone calls. And so I called some good friends of mine that are pastors in the area that serve here in 76104. And we started phone calls. We started having these conversations on the study that UT Southwestern did, as well as what really the needs are in 76104. And I think what's really key here that we're really trying to do better is we're listening for what the community needs. There's no part in here that we're coming in or anyone's coming in saying we think this is what the community needs, and so here's what we're going to do. But really, we just need to take time to listen. We need to build trust, and we need to hear really what's going on in the community, and how we can come together to meet the need. And I think what's the other thing that's really important here is that we're a team of people, and everybody that's a part of this has the same responsibility in this, that we're all in this together. There does take some of us to do a little bit more of the logistics in the background in planning these meetings and inviting people in, but this is really about us coming together, having phone calls, and really just brainstorming on how we can meet the needs in the community. We had a great call this morning. Unfortunately, Teams and virtual didn't work out. We weren't able to finish our meeting, but I'll send an email out later today or tomorrow, just outlining everything we talked about and the work that we're doing. And so these are the churches that came together, Tarrant churches together, and Mount Rose, New Mount Rose, Baker Chapel, Catholic Charities, Broadway, and Community Crossroads. We all came together as we serve. Some of us live in 76104. And now, you know, we just started inviting friends, and Victoria was actually incredibly helpful and telling a lot of you guys about the work that we're doing. And it's continuing to grow. I can't even do it justice on all the folks that have been a part of the conversations and talking, but this is really about us continuing to invite people to the conversation, for more people to say, hey, I know this person, or I know this organization is doing this. Do y'all know about that? And continuing to connect each other. And so really turning our listening into action. And so this is just some of the few things that we've done. We had a phone call with some JPS leaders, and about 2 days later, we had an entire JPS team in the parking lot of New Mount Rose Church on a Friday morning, and they were able to do 250 flu shots. And that was from phone calls. And I'll say this, I think 2020 was difficult. We can all agree to that. But it was a year that I think people really started to listen, and people that maybe knew things or have heard about or familiar with things were really ready to act, and they're really ready to hear how they could do something. And so this flu shot clinic was, I believe, was really something that some of the leaders at JPS said, yes, we want to do something. We don't know exactly what this is going to look like long term, but this is something we can do now. Trinity Metro and Tarrant Area Food Bank came together on a call, and we brainstormed some ideas, and they are trying to increase ridership with Zip Zone. And so they parked their Zip Zone van at a TAFB event in 76104 just to educate the community on what the Zip Zone app is and what that resource is. Again, the food bank has come and talked about the mobile mercado that they're looking at. They presented to the city council recently, and Julie and her team have been advocates for Team 76104, and I really appreciate the work that they've done and continue to do in the 104. Linda Fulmer, huge Linda Fulmer fan. She has presented a few different times, and we're really seeing a lot more movement on Gardens on the Go. I'm assuming a lot of you guys are familiar with that that project that she's got. And so I know 2 churches are looking at doing that pretty soon that are in 76104. And when I say 76104, for those of you guys that maybe aren't familiar with this specific zip code, the near Southside falls in this zip code, and the Morningside, Hillside neighborhoods fall in this zip code. There are 5 elementary schools in this zip code, and we're just south of downtown and in the hospital district. And so when we really talk about 76104, we're really talking about that community and that neighborhood just east of 35. That's where we see a lot of the need, mostly residential and churches in that area. And so you can see here, we're continuing to talk I'm sorry, I said twice per week. We're doing it twice per month right now, and having some leadership meetings on the side as well of the people that kind of started this conversation. And so for you, one thing you could probably help the most with is, as you're continue to be connected to Victoria, is invite partners that you think would want to get involved in the work that we're doing. Someone said the other day they had heard about Team 76104, and they were like, Jay, I was looking online for it and I can't find anything. Exactly, because we're grassroots. We're just a group of people that came together to say we're going to do something. So there's no website or banner. If you know somebody that can do websites and banners, that'd be great. But I think we just continue to come together. We continue to have these conversations. and we continue first to listen really for what the community needs. And so that is all I have. And if you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those in the chat.
Thank you, Jay. I really appreciate you being here and taking the time. Yes, please, if you have questions or anything, please put those in the chat for Jay. I've been able to attend a few of the meetings and for Team 76104 and have enjoyed being on that and getting to learn more about what's happening specifically on the ground. And we've actually had several people who are either part of our working groups, council working groups, or kind of adjacent to the council and participate and interact and collaborate with us in various ways who've also been involved. So that's great to have those voices and participating and representing. All right. I want to point out that we have extra panelists today with us. But we still have more attendees than panelists. So that's a good thing today. That's exciting. And we're glad each of you is here to join us.
You can't see my clap, but I'm clapping too.
Oh, good. Okay. We are actually at the end of our agenda. We've, sometimes we have a lot more to talk about, or we have chatting happening more or something going on, questions and things like that. I'm going to come back around to Soraya and the treasurer report and put her on the spot to have her take care of that real quickly.
Thank you, Susie. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. Apologies for being late. All right. So what we have here is the treasurer's report for February. I put it as for February, so basically covering the month of January. We did have a $500 donation that was given to us by former Chair Michelin Hines. This was part of the agreement that the board had discussed in reimbursing Michelin. We had reimbursed Michelin this past year for items that she had paid for on behalf of the council. And as part of that agreement, Michelin had kindly agreed to donate half of it back to the council. So thanks to her generous donation, we did have a deposit this month in the form of $500, and then the expenses are pretty much our routine expenses that we see every month. So this is nothing out of the ordinary, which is the website and our account monthly service fee. So that brings our current balance to $1,384, but with no projected additional income or revenue in the future.
All right, thank you. As always, please let us know if you have any questions about those kinds of issues, and we'll get them answered for you. Alexandra.
If someone is interested in making a donation, how would they go about doing so?
Well, they can mail a check to me, or I think that we'd also discuss getting a link to our website.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we need to get on is getting a donation button on the website so that we make it easy. But currently you can send a check. If we can pop the address for that in the chat, that would be great.
Also, I have one more thing, if it's okay. So we had that awesome, brief summary by Jay. Thank you so much for that. as it turns out, Jay is also going to be our presenter at the next general meeting. So he'll be doing a deeper dive on Team 76104. So if you all enjoyed what he had to say today, please come on back, invite a friend. Thank you.
All right, very good. Let me check my notes here. Anything else that anybody wants to share from our panelists or attendees? Things that are happening, anything like that?
I'm going to share Saturday. It'll be a little chilly, but we are tarping and filling sandbags at Greater Mount Tabor Farms, the church that we're starting, the church farm that we're starting in southeast of 76104. I'll put the address, it'll be 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and I'll put the address in the chat if you want to do a little work on a farm.
That'd be fantastic. Yeah. A great time to get out and really begin to understand what farmers and go through and what it takes to grow food and be part of that, because it's pretty cool to be part of the actual food growing process. Other announcements? No.
Susie, I'll share a little bit
Yes.
because I saw it on Jay's screen when he was sharing. I have nothing to do with this group, but I just wanted to share their good work and what they're doing. Southside Community Gardens was on Jay's slide, and we've worked with them a little bit here at the food bank to just support the work they're doing. But they got their first garden beds built this past week, and they had a couple news segments as well. I'll post their website. They're in the 76104 neighborhood and are working on installing garden beds in at private residences as kind of a community effort. So that's a really cool project going on there. I want to say their Facebook page has a little bit more information. I'm trying to pull that up here quickly as well. And we'll have some links to their stories. So it's been really fun to see that project develop very quickly and put together some really good work. So I'll share that as well. I'm sure they would love more volunteers and help if you're looking for some gardening to do in that area.
That would be fantastic. Yes. Other announcements? Anything else anybody wants to share you forgot to say earlier, just thought of? I'm going to give it one last chance and then remind you that that we will meet again in April, on April 1st, which will be fun to meet on April Fool's Day, because, you know, why not? And again, I want to thank our speakers and everyone who's joined us. We will encourage you to attend a working group meeting if you're not already engaged. Come join the volunteer activities that are available and jump in and participate in making Tarrant County a more food secure, a stronger local food system, a more equitable place to live. All right, if there's nothing else, we will adjourn and we will see you in April.
Hey, everyone.
Thank you.